So, in today's video, it's me carving an owl. It was a much faster process than I thought it would be, because I ended up doing some. I didn't go as detailed as I wanted to, especially on the legs. And the plan was to maybe add some details with the wood burner, but I ended up thinking that it would not look good considering the reference I was using if I was to try to replicate it using my wood burner. So I decided to leave this for when I'm ready to start painting my pieces, because then I'll be able to add more color, more types of details, and it will look better considering the references I was using. So I began by by drawing the owl on the front and on the sides. And I took a different approach than usual. Generally, I prefer to start from the head down, but I went with the feet first this time. Um, I don't remember the thought process. I think it was that I wanted to make sure that the shape of the body was compatible with the legs. It was to help me. It was I think it was to help me have more control over the location of the position of the legs and their size compared to the rest of the body. I don't think I succeeded in that. It's a good result, but I don't think. But the legs ended up much smaller than I would have liked, and without details for the claws, for example, and things like that. Not a total failure, but not exactly a success. The stream from that you're looking at the time lapse of was originally 1 hour and something. After editing and the time lapse, it's more around the lines of 17 minutes, 18 minutes. But with the time lapse you're looking at is 2 times speed all the way through. Uh, because of the fact that it was already a short stream, and I didn't feel the need to go faster. Usually I'm around 3 times speed, so 2 times speed is slightly lower than usual, but considering the timing of things, with 3 times speed the video would have been like, I don't know, 10-ish minutes, a bit less than 10 minutes, probably 8. I don't know. Mental math of this kind is not my strength. So, but it would have been too short. I wouldn't have had time to talk about anything. So, I think 2 times speed was a good call. Here I'm already trying to do the neck a bit, in the shape of the body beyond just the feet, because without the rest of the body it's hard to tell exactly how good the feet are compared to the rest. So I'm trying to get I was trying to shape more or less the whole body at once, because an owl kind of, it's not just a cylinder and a oval cylinder or something. It's a relatively simple shape, but since it flows from the beginning to end, it feels like I was required to work it all around at once, more or less. So that's why I went that way. I ended up carving the head a lot bigger than I wanted to, because simply because of the fact that it was hard to carve above the top of the head of the wood that I left. I think I left too much space and too much thickness, so it was basically impossible to carve the exact shape I wanted to. I was working as the grain too much, and it was a real struggle. So I ended up just cutting my losses and making the head bigger than I intended. But that's just a story of the way I carve things. The, the edges are always harder than I remember them being when I'm planning my projects, so I always end up having at least some part of the project bigger than I wanted it to be. Generally, it's the body, but this time it was the head. Here I've redrawn the front of the body on the front of the block that I'd carved because I wanted to start carving the sides and bring the shape together, starting from the neck. This was the most obvious place to start. It makes a nice trench, a stop, somewhere I can regroup and be secure. It's because it's the thinnest continuous portion of the owl. The neck is the best place to start trying to make an initial circle, then an initial cylinder for the neck, and then just work my way around to all other portions. Here I work a bit on the legs. I wanted the point of the legs and the tail, because the body goes to a point up to the tail. I wanted that to be present. But the way I carved it, I carved the portion that I was supposed to leave for the legs and the claws. So that's one of the reasons why the legs end up thinner than I wanted it to be. Here you can see a bit of the struggle for the top. I change tools, I make many passes. It, it felt like the head was lopsided and strange at this point, because as I was removing material, it kind of just sharpened it to a point. But then the point wasn't centered, and when it was centered, it just looked strange, like a cone in a conical hat of like a gnome or something. So it was annoying. So I carved other portions to take a break from carving the head and go back to the head often. Here I make just a highlight of the position I want the wings to be. So I draw the line of the wings and then just remove some material outside of the bounds of where I drawn the wings. That way I have a higher step, and the wingspan is visible even without pencils afterward. And then the second wing. Before I carve the wing, you can see I'm trying to round off the edge between the back and the side where the wing is, just to make it look not as square and unfinished. Now this portion, I don't feel like we see quite good enough what I'm trying to do here. But basically I'm trying to split the portion of the legs, wood from the legs, and the portion of the tail. I want the tail to be separate from the feet to make it more easy to understand the shapes. If the tail is just a point separate from the feet, it doesn't look at just a growth or something around the feet or an unfinished portion. This portion was hard to do because I didn't have a very good angle on the portion I was trying to carve, no matter what direction I took. Especially with this curved knife, which has a more intense. It's a thicker blade in all directions, basically. So it had trouble reaching it. I had trouble reaching in with this one. So a lot of the work ended up being done with the straighter edge that was able to better reach inside because it's longer and thinner. Like this. I was able to better cut stubborn fibers. And then here I'm working on the feet. Initially, I would have liked to do claws, as I said, but the portion of wood I left was way too thin for it to be possible. And ideally, I would have also liked the legs to be fully separated from one another, but I didn't feel safe trying to do that. Not physically, I wouldn't have hurt myself, I think, but it felt like the wood was too weak, or that it would have the risk because the area needed to remove being so small compared to the tools I'm using. It felt like I would definitely break part of the sculpture if I had tried to fully split the legs. So I ended up doing just the feet. The feet are separate, but so it almost looked like the owl has one leg with slightly strange claws. But it does look fairly good in real life compared to on video. which is basically the case for everything I've done so far. I feel like, at least with wood carving, because of the reflections and things like that, a lot of a lot of detail and a lot of detail is lost, or more, or enhanced strangely in some cases. The light reflects strangely in the wood on camera compared to what it is in real life. And here I'm starting to work on the face. The face is kind of small compared to the head, because when I was trying when I was carving the face, I wanted it to have the heart-like shape that a lot of owls have on, but so I couldn't do it on the whole head, the removal of material, but I did need to do it quite a bit. Eh, I don't like the face. Uh, when and if I paint it, it will look a lot better. But right now, as it is, the weakest portion of the sculpture, I think, is the face of the owl. The body shape, pretty. I feel pretty good about it, but the face is, not not nearly as interesting, I think. That's not to say that it's bad. It's just not as good as I would have liked it to be. And well, when I paint it, will not. It will look very good once painted, I think. That said, I won't be painting it soon. It's just more a project in the future when I have a proper workshop established and I can start painting, because right now my electronics aren't safe with that. And then I'm going to spare you a lot of slight, tiny cuts I did around to finish it. They are mostly inconsequential, so here are just the finished product, mostly. And with that, I'm going to say thank you for watching. Feel free to come by whenever you want. Bye.